Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her face against the cold metal of the observation window and stared into the darkness of space. The stars looked different out here, so far from Earth that even the sun was just another tiny point of light. She had dreamed of this moment since she was a child, but something felt wrong. The research ship Kepler's Dream had been traveling for 3 years to reach the Proxima Centauri system. Earth's radio telescopes had picked up signals from this place decades ago. The signals were clearly artificial, made by intelligent beings. It was humanity's first proof that they were not alone in the universe, but now, as they got closer, there was only silence. Dr. Vasquez, please report to the bridge. The captain's voice came through the ship's speakers. Elena pushed herself away from the window and floated through the zero-gravity corridors toward the front of the ship. Captain Sarah Chen was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded 3 previous deep space missions, but Elena could see worry lines on her face that hadn't been there when they left Earth. Elena, take a look at this, Captain Chen said, pointing to the main screen. We're getting our first clear images of Proxima b. The planet appeared on the screen, a blue and green world that looked almost like Earth. But something was wrong with the picture. Elena could see huge structures on the surface, clearly artificial, but there were no lights anywhere. No energy signatures, no radio signals. It looks dead, said Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's doctor and pathologist. Marcus was a tall, thin man who rarely spoke unless he had something important to say. That's impossible, Elena replied. The signals we detected were strong. The civilization was advanced, maybe more advanced than us. Cities this size don't just go dark. Lieutenant Commander James Rodriguez, the ship's engineer, pulled up more data on his screen. I'm detecting massive orbital structures too. Some kind of space stations, but they're all drifting. No power, no movement. It's like someone just turned off the lights and walked away. Captain Chen made her decision quickly. We're going down to investigate. Helena, Marcus, James, you're with me. Full environmental suits. We don't know what happened here, but we're not taking any chances. 2 hours later, their shuttle broke through Proxima b's atmosphere. Elena watched through the window as alien cities grew larger below them. The structures were beautiful, made of materials that seemed to shimmer in the alien sun's light. Tall spires reached toward the sky, connected by bridges that curved through the air like frozen rivers. But there was no movement anywhere. No vehicles, no lights, no signs of life. They landed in what looked like a main plaza in the center of the largest city. The buildings around them rose hundreds of stories into the sky, their surfaces covered in patterns that might have been writing or art. The shuttle's external cameras showed empty streets stretching in all directions. Atmosphere is breathable, James reported, checking his instruments. Similar to Earth, maybe a little more oxygen. But I'm not detecting any biological activity. No bacteria, no plants, nothing. They stepped out of the shuttle in their protective suits. Elena had imagined this moment 1,000 times. Humanity's first steps on an alien world, first contact with another intelligent species. Instead, she felt like she was walking through a graveyard. The buildings were in perfect condition. There was no damage, no signs of war or disaster, but there were no aliens either. Elena found what might have been shops or homes with furniture-like objects and devices she couldn't understand. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. Over here, Marcus called from across the plaza. I found something. Elena and the others rushed to where Marcus was kneeling beside what was clearly a body. The alien was tall and thin, with long arms and legs. Its skin was a pale blue color, and it had large black eyes that were now closed forever. It wore clothing made from materials Elena had never seen before. How long has it been dead? Elena asked. Marcus ran his scanner over the body. This is strange. The tissue is perfectly preserved, but the cellular structure is completely broken down. It's like every cell in its body just stopped working all at once. They found more bodies as they explored the city. All of them showed the same mysterious cellular breakdown. Men, women, children, an entire civilization had died at the same time. Elena found what looked like a family in one building, sitting around a table with food still on it. They had died so suddenly they hadn't even had time to react. This wasn't a war, Captain Chen said as they gathered back at the shuttle, and it wasn't an accident. Something killed every living thing on this planet at the same time. Elena nodded, but her mind was racing. Captain, I need to run more tests. The way these cells broke down, it's not like anything I've ever seen. It's almost like they were attacked by something designed specifically to destroy them. A weapon, James asked, maybe, or a disease. But if it was a disease, why didn't it spread gradually? Why did everyone die at exactly the same time? They spent 2 more days on Proxima B, collecting samples and recording everything they could. Elena found the aliens' computer systems, but they were all dead. Marcus discovered that even the planet's bacteria had died, leaving the world completely sterile. On their last day, Elena made a discovery that chilled her to the bone. In what seemed to be a government building, she found alien writing carved into metal walls. The symbols were burned deep into the metal as if someone had used a laser to write them. James's translation computer couldn't understand the alien language, but the desperate way the symbols were carved told Elena everything she needed to know. These were warnings. Messages left by a dying civilization, trying to tell someone what had killed them. As the Kepler's dream left Proxima B behind, Elena stared at the samples she had collected. Whatever had killed the aliens was unlike anything in Earth's medical databases. The cellular breakdown was too precise, too complete. It was as if something had been designed to destroy complex life forms with perfect efficiency. "Elena," Captain Chen said, joining her in the laboratory, "I've been thinking about what we found down there. If this was some kind of weapon or disease, and if it killed an entire advanced civilization, then we need to find out if it's still out there," Elena finished. "And we need to find out if it's heading toward Earth." Captain Chen nodded grimly. "I'm setting course for the next star system. The computers picked up similar signals from there about 10 years ago. But Elena, if we find the same thing there..." Elena looked at her samples again. The alien cells were completely destroyed, but they had died recently. Carbon dating suggested the extinction had happened within the last 50 years, maybe less. Whatever had killed the aliens was still active somewhere in the galaxy. And if it could destroy a civilization more advanced than humanity, what chance did Earth have against it? Elena made a note in her research journal. Day 127 of mission. First contact achieved, but not as expected. Entire alien civilization extinct from unknown cause. Cellular breakdown suggests artificial pathogen. Recommend immediate investigation of nearby systems. May have discovered evidence of galaxy-wide extinction event. She paused, then added, "God help us all." The second star system told the same terrible story. Elena stood in the ruins of another alien city, this one built on floating platforms above an ocean world. The beings here had been different from the Proxima aliens. These creatures were shorter, with 4 arms and skin that looked like it had once been bright orange. But they were just as dead. "Same cellular breakdown," Marcus reported, his voice grim through the radio. "Whatever killed them, it's the same thing that hit Proxima B." Captain Chen's voice crackled through their headsets. "How long ago?" 43 years, Elena answered, checking her scanner. "This happened more recently than Proxima." "Marcus, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" "Yeah. The breakdown pattern is getting more efficient. Whatever this thing is, it's learning." Elena shivered inside her environmental suit. They had named the unknown killer the Silence because of how completely it eliminated all life. No radio signals, no biological activity, just perfect death that left buildings and technology untouched. The floating city showed signs of a more advanced civilization than Proxima. Their technology was sleeker, more integrated with biological systems. Elena found computers that seemed to be grown rather than built, vehicles that looked like living creatures made of metal and crystal. But it was all dead now. "Elena, you need to see this," James called from the central platform. He was standing in front of a massive structure that looked like a library or data center. "I found something." Elena swam through the alien ocean to reach the platform. The water was perfectly clear but completely lifeless. Even the microscopic organisms that should have filled any ocean were gone. Inside the structure, James had discovered something amazing. The aliens had left behind records of what killed them. Unlike the desperate warnings carved in metal on Proxima B, these were detailed scientific records stored in quantum crystals that had survived the silence. "Can you translate it?" Elena asked. "The computer is working on it, but look at these images." James pulled up holographic displays from the alien data. The images showed star maps with a wave of darkness spreading through the galaxy. "They tracked it, Elena. They knew it was coming." Elena studied the star map. The wave of extinction had started somewhere near the center of the galaxy and was spreading outward in all directions. The dates on the alien record showed it was moving fast, jumping from star system to star system. They called it the death of worlds, James said as more translation came through. According to their records, it had already destroyed dozens of civilizations before it reached them. Elena felt sick. How many? Hundreds, maybe thousands. Elena, according to this data, we might be looking at the extinction of every intelligent species in this part of the galaxy. Captain Chen's voice interrupted them. All teams return to the ship immediately. I'm picking up something on long-range sensors. They rushed back to the Kepler's Dream. In the ship's briefing room, Captain Chen showed them what her sensors had found. 3 more star systems in their path showed the same pattern. No radio signals, no energy signatures, no signs of life. It's ahead of us, Captain Chen said. Whatever the silence is, it's moving toward the outer edge of the galaxy. Toward Earth. Elena studied the data from both dead civilizations. Captain, I think I know what we're dealing with. The evidence suggests this isn't a natural plague. The way it destroys cellular structure, the fact that it leaves technology untouched, the speed at which it spreads. This is a weapon. A weapon? Marcus leaned forward. You mean someone is doing this on purpose? Look at the patterns. It targets complex organic life specifically. It doesn't damage buildings or technology. It doesn't affect simple materials. This thing was designed to kill living beings while leaving everything else intact. James pulled up the alien star map again. If Elena is right, then someone or something is sterilizing the galaxy. But why? Elena had been thinking about that question for days. What if they want the galaxy empty but intact? What if someone is clearing out all the life so they can move in and take over? The room fell silent. The idea was too horrible to fully process. Someone was committing genocide on a galactic scale. There's something else, Elena continued. Both civilizations we've studied were more advanced than us. Their technology, their science, their medicine, all of it was hundreds of years ahead of Earth. But the silence killed them anyway. Captain Chen made her decision. We're going to investigate one more system, then we're heading back to Earth. Humanity needs to know what's coming. The 3rd star system was the worst yet. The aliens there had been even more advanced than the others. Elena found cities that floated in space without any visible means of support, powered by technology that seemed to manipulate gravity itself. They had built massive space stations that surrounded their star like a shell, capturing all of its energy. But they were all dead too. 37 years ago, Marcus reported. The silence is definitely moving in our direction. Elena made another disturbing discovery. The aliens here had left behind more than just records. They had tried to fight back. She found weapons that could destroy planets, shields that could protect entire star systems, and medical technology that could rebuild living tissue at the molecular level. None of it had worked against the silence. Elena, come look at this, James called from what appeared to be their version of a war room. The walls were covered with battle plans and defensive strategies. They knew it was coming. They had years to prepare. Elena studied the alien battle plans. They had tried everything, evacuating to other star systems, building massive medical facilities to treat the plague, even attempting to modify their own biology to resist the disease. But the silence had killed them anyway. In the center of the war room, Elena found something that made her blood run cold. It was a message in perfect mathematical symbols that any intelligent species could understand. The message was simple. The harvesters come, flee to the void. Harvesters? Elena whispered. James, get Captain Chen down here now. When Captain Chen arrived, Elena showed her the message. Captain, I don't think the silence is just a weapon. I think it's preparation. Someone called the Harvesters is using it to clear out the galaxy before they arrive. Captain Chen stared at the alien message. How long do we have? Elena pulled up all the data they had collected. Based on the pattern of extinctions and the speed the silence is moving, it should reach Earth's outer colonies in about 5 years. And Earth itself? Maybe 7 years. 8 at the most. Captain Chen was quiet for a long moment. Start preparing your final report. We're going home. As the Kepler's Dream turned toward Earth, Elena sat in her laboratory surrounded by samples from 3 dead worlds. Every test she ran gave the same result. The silence was unlike anything in human medical knowledge. It was precise, efficient, and completely lethal to complex life. But there was something else that bothered Elena. In all 3 civilizations, She had found evidence that they had evolved in relatively clean environments. Their planets were pristine, their cities were sterile, their technology was perfectly integrated with biology. They had eliminated disease and pollution from their worlds. Earth was different. Humanity had evolved in a dirty, dangerous environment filled with plagues and diseases. Humans were constantly fighting off infections, adapting to new viruses, dealing with bacteria and parasites. Earth's environment was chaotic and messy compared to the perfect world she had studied. Elena wondered if that difference might matter. But she pushed the thought away. If the silence could kill civilizations far more advanced than humanity, what hope did a dirty little planet like Earth have? She began writing her report. Evidence suggests galaxy-wide extinction event caused by artificial pathogen designated the Silence. Unknown entities called the Harvesters appear to be responsible. Recommend immediate preparation of Earth's defenses. Estimated time until arrival 5 to 8 years. Elena paused, then added, survival probability for human civilization, unknown, but likely minimal based on observed patterns. Outside her window, the stars looked the same as always. But Elena now knew the truth. Most of them were already dark. Earth was in controlled panic when the Kepler's dream returned home. Elena watched through the shuttle window as they approached Earth's orbital stations. The space around the planet was busier than she had ever seen it. New defensive platforms were being built. Massive ships were moving back and forth between Earth and Mars, and construction crews worked around the clock on projects she didn't recognize. The world had changed in the 4 years they had been gone. Dr. Vasquez, welcome back to Earth. Director Amanda Foster met them at the docking station. Foster was the new head of the Global Scientific Consortium, an organization that hadn't existed when Elena left Earth. The entire world has been waiting for your report. Elena carried her samples carefully as they transferred to the elevator that would take them down to Earth's surface. Director, how much do people know? Everything. Your preliminary reports triggered the biggest scientific mobilization in human history. Every government, every university, every research facility on Earth is now working on the same problem: how to survive the silence. The elevator descended toward Earth, and Elena could see the changes even from space. New cities were being built underground. Massive greenhouses covered entire continents. The ocean was dotted with floating research facilities. We've been preparing, Director Foster continued. But Elena, we need to know everything. Every detail about what you found out there. Elena nodded. I'll need a full laboratory and a level 4 containment facility. Some of the samples I brought back are dangerous. Already prepared. We've built the most advanced biological research facility in human history. It's waiting for you. The facility was incredible. Elena had never seen anything like it. Laboratories that could simulate any environment. Computers that could model biological processes at the molecular level, and safety systems that could contain anything short of a nuclear explosion. But it was the people that impressed Elena the most. Scientists from every country on Earth worked together in the facility. The world's best minds focused on a single problem: understanding the silence. We've been working with the data you sent back, Dr. Sarah Kim explained as she showed Elena around the facility. Sarah was a brilliant geneticist who had joined the project a year earlier, but we needed the actual samples to make real progress. Elena carefully placed her alien samples into the facility's most secure containment unit. Have you made any progress at all? Some, we know the silence is definitely artificial. The way it attacks cellular structures is too precise to be natural. We also know it's incredibly efficient. In laboratory simulations, it can destroy any Earth organism we've tested. Elena felt her heart sink. Any Earth organism? Well, almost any. There have been some interesting exceptions. Sarah led Elena to a laboratory where Dr. Martinez, a microbiologist, was working with cultures of Earth bacteria. Show her what you found, Carlos. Dr. Martinez pulled up his research on a large screen. Elena, this is going to sound crazy, but some Earth bacteria can actually survive exposure to the silence. Not just survive, they can destroy it. Elena stared at the data. That's impossible. The silence killed everything on 3 different worlds. I know, but look at this. Carlos showed her microscopic images of the battle between Earth bacteria and the silence. Our bacteria are different. They've evolved in one of the dirtiest environments in the galaxy. Earth has been fighting diseases and infections for billions of years. Sarah pulled up more data. Carlos is right. Earth bacteria have developed defenses that the alien organisms never needed. The worlds you visited were too clean, too perfect. Their organisms never learned to fight dirty. Elena studied the research with growing excitement. What about human cells? Have you tested human tissue against the silence? That's the really crazy part, Carlos said. Human cells don't just survive the silence, they're completely immune to it. Your immune system recognizes the silence as a threat and destroys it before it can attack your cells. Elena sat down hard in the nearest chair. Are you telling me that humans are immune to the thing that destroyed entire galactic civilizations? It looks that way. We've run thousands of tests. Human blood, human tissue, even human saliva can neutralize the silence. It's like your bodies were designed to fight this thing. Director Foster entered the laboratory. Elena, we need to talk. The latest reports from our deep space monitoring stations show the silence has reached the Alpha Centauri system. It's moving faster than we expected. Elena's mind was racing. How long do we have? Maybe 3 years before it reaches our outer colonies. 4 years before it gets to Earth. But Director, Sarah interrupted, if our research is correct, it doesn't matter when the silence reaches Earth. Humans are immune. Elena stood up and paced around the laboratory. Wait, this doesn't make sense. If humans are immune, why did the aliens leave warnings about the harvesters? Why were they so terrified? Director Foster pulled up a new display. That's what we've been trying to figure out. Our deep space telescopes have detected something moving between the galaxies. Something massive. The image on the screen showed dark shapes moving through the void between galaxies. They were enormous, larger than solar systems, and they were heading toward the Milky Way. The harvesters, Elena whispered. We think so. And Elena, they're not alone. Our computers estimate there are thousands of them. Elena studied the images. The silence isn't the real weapon. It's just preparation. The harvesters use it to sterilize galaxies before they arrive. But why? Carlos asked. Elena thought about everything she had learned on the alien worlds. Because they want the galaxy empty but intact. They don't want to fight anyone. They want to harvest a galaxy where all the complex life is already dead. Sarah pulled up more research data. If that's true, then humanity's immunity to the silence changes everything. When the harvesters arrive, they'll expect to find a dead galaxy. Instead, they'll find us. Director Foster nodded grimly. That's why we're not just focusing on defense anymore. We're preparing for war. Elena spent the next 6 months working with the research team, studying the silence and humanity's immunity to it. The more she learned, the more amazed she became. Humans weren't just immune. They were like a biological weapon against the silence. Human bacteria could destroy the silence in hours. Human immune systems could neutralize it completely. Even human breath, filled with the bacteria and viruses that humans carried naturally, was lethal to the silence. It's like we're living biological warfare agents, Elena told Director Foster during one of their meetings. Everything that makes humans dirty compared to the alien civilizations makes us deadly to the silence. And what does that mean for our chances against the harvesters? Elena looked at the latest reports from the outer colonies. The silence had reached Pluto and was spreading through the solar system. But everywhere it touched human settlements, it died. Mars colonies reported complete immunity. Space stations showed no signs of infection. Even Earth's orbital facilities were safe. Director, I think we need to change our strategy. We're not the victims in this situation. We're the immune system. What do you mean? Elena pulled up a galactic map showing the spread of the silence. Look at this pattern. The harvesters have been doing this for millions of years, sterilizing galaxy after galaxy. They've never encountered a species that could survive their weapon. So we're the first? As far as we know, yes. And that means when the harvesters arrive, they're going to get the biggest surprise in cosmic history. Director Foster smiled for the first time since Elena had returned to Earth. Elena, I want you to head up a new project. We're going to spread human presence to every world in this galaxy. If humans are immune to the silence, then we're going to make sure there are humans everywhere. Elena nodded. A biological defense network. Exactly. By the time the harvesters arrive, they won't find a sterile galaxy ready for harvest. They'll find a galaxy full of humans, and every single one of us will be a weapon against their ultimate tool. Elena looked out the window at Earth, teeming with life that the rest of the galaxy would consider impossibly dirty and chaotic. For the first time since she had seen the dead cities of Proxima b, she felt hope. Humanity's greatest weakness, their messy, disease-ridden evolutionary history, was about to become the galaxy's salvation. The silence reached Earth's moon on a Tuesday morning, and humanity watched it die. Elena stood in the control center of Luna Base, watching the monitors as the deadly pathogen spread across the moon's surface. For 3 years, humanity had prepared for this moment. Now, as the silence tried to take hold in human settlements, it was failing completely. Biological readings are normal across all sectors, reported Commander Jackson from the moon's main colony. The silence is present, but it's not affecting any human personnel or Earth-based organisms. Elena smiled as she watched the data streams. The pathogen that had destroyed entire galactic civilizations was dying within hours of contact with human settlements. How are our bacterial defense systems performing? Better than expected. The enhanced Earth bacteria we've seeded throughout the colony are actively hunting down and destroying silence particles. It's like watching an immune system fight off an infection. Dr. Martinez, who had moved to Luna Base to oversee the biological defenses, joined Elena at the control station. Elena, the silence isn't just dying, it's being completely eliminated. Our bacteria are so aggressive against it that we're seeing negative readings in some areas. Negative readings? The concentration of silence particles is actually lower than background levels. Our biological defenses aren't just stopping it, they're actively cleaning up trace amounts that have been floating in space for years. Elena felt a surge of pride. Humanity had spent 3 years preparing for this moment, and their preparations were working perfectly. Every human settlement in the solar system had been turned into a biological fortress, teeming with Earth bacteria and human immune responses. Elena, Director Foster's voice came through the communication system from Earth. We're getting reports from across the solar system, Mars, Europa, Titan, even the outer asteroid colonies, all showing complete immunity to the silence. Elena nodded. Director, I think it's time to move to the next phase of the plan. The next phase was humanity's most ambitious project ever. Over the past 3 years, Earth had built the largest fleet of colony ships in human history. These weren't just exploration vessels, they were biological warfare ships, designed to carry human life to every habitable world in the galaxy. Elena watched from the observation deck as the first wave of colony ships launched from Earth orbit. Each ship carried thousands of colonists along with carefully selected Earth bacteria, plants, and animals. Their mission was simple: establish human settlements on as many worlds as possible before the harvesters arrived. Dr. Vasquez, we're ready for you on the bridge. Captain Chen's voice came through the intercom. Sarah had been promoted to admiral and was now commanding the largest colony ship in the fleet, the New Earth. Elena made her way to the bridge, where Admiral Chen was reviewing navigation charts with her officers. The New Earth was massive, designed to carry 50,000 colonists to the former Proxima system. Elena, I want you to see this before we jump to hyperspace, Admiral Chen said, pulling up a display of Earth from space. Take a good look. Elena stared at her home planet. Earth looked different now. The orbital stations were 10 times larger than when she had left 4 years earlier. The moon was covered with domed cities. Mars glowed with the lights of massive colonies. Even the asteroid belt sparkled with mining stations and habitats. Humanity has tripled in size since we discovered the silence, Admiral Chen explained. Every human settlement is a biological weapon against the Harvester's sterilization plan. Elena nodded. How many ships in this wave? 500. We're targeting every world that can support human life within 50 light years of Earth. The second wave will launch next month with another 1,000 ships. Elena felt the familiar sensation of hyperspace travel as the New Earth jumped toward Proxima Centauri. They would arrive at the dead alien world in just 2 weeks, ready to bring it back to life. During the journey, Elena continued her research. She had made another important discovery about humanity's immunity to the silence. It wasn't just that humans could survive the pathogen. They could actually use it. Look at this. Elena showed Dr. Kim her latest findings. When human immune systems fight the silence, they don't just destroy it. They learn from it. Sarah studied the data on Elena's screen. What do you mean? The silence is incredibly sophisticated. It contains information about hundreds of different alien immune systems and cellular structures. When human immune systems break it down, they absorb that information. So fighting the silence makes humans stronger? Exactly. Every human who has been exposed to the silence now has enhanced immune responses that can fight diseases we've never even encountered. We're not just immune to the Harvester's weapon, we're using it to improve ourselves. Elena pulled up more research data, but there's something else. Something I discovered in the alien archives on Proxima B. She showed Sarah a translation of ancient alien records that had taken years to decode. The Harvesters aren't from this galaxy. They're from the void between galaxies, and they've been doing this for millions of years. How many galaxies have they sterilized? Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. They travel from galaxy to galaxy, release the silence, wait for everything to die, then move in to harvest the resources. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Elena, that means they've never encountered resistance before. Right. In millions of years across thousands of galaxies, they've never found a species that could survive the silence. We're the first. Admiral Chen joined them in the research lab. Elena, we're approaching Proxima B. Are you ready to see what we can do with a dead world? Elena followed Admiral Chen to the observation deck as the new Earth entered orbit around Proxima B. The alien world looked exactly as Elena remembered it. Beautiful, but lifeless. A perfect tomb for an entire civilization. But that was about to change. The colonization of Proxima B was unlike anything Elena had ever seen. Instead of simply building human settlements, the colonists were designed to bring the entire world back to life. They released Earth bacteria into the soil, planted Earth vegetation in the alien cities, and filled the sterile oceans with Earth microorganisms. Within just 6 months, Proxima B was green again. Human children played in parks built inside alien structures. Earth plants grew up the sides of alien buildings. The sterile world that the silence had created was now teeming with messy, chaotic human life. It's working, Admiral Chen told Elena as they stood in what had once been the aliens' capital city. Every report from our colony world shows the same thing. We're not just surviving on these worlds. We're making them impossible for the silence to ever sterilize again. Elena watched human children playing with alien toys in a playground built inside an alien structure. Earth bacteria and alien materials had combined to create new forms of life that had never existed before. The galaxy was becoming something entirely new. Admiral, how long until the Harvesters arrive? Our deep space monitors estimate 18 months, maybe less. Elena looked up at the alien sky, now filled with Earthbirds that had adapted to the alien atmosphere. Then we need to move faster. How many worlds do we have now? 47 colony worlds, with more being established every week. Each one is a biological fortress that makes the silence useless. Elena smiled. When the Harvesters arrive, they're going to find something they've never encountered in millions of years of galactic sterilization. What's that? Resistance. For the first time in cosmic history, their victims are going to fight back. Admiral Chen nodded. Elena, there's something else. Our deep space telescopes have detected other signals, faint radio transmissions from distant galaxies. Other civilizations. We think so. Civilizations that survived the Harvesters in other galaxies. If we can defeat the Harvesters here, we might be able to contact other survivors, maybe even help them. Elena thought about the implications. Humanity wasn't just fighting for their own galaxy. They were fighting to break a cycle of extinction that had lasted for millions of years across the entire universe. She looked up at the stars, now knowing that most of them had once been surrounded by living worlds before the Harvesters came, but not this time. This time the galaxy had an immune system, and its name was humanity. They came from the darkness between galaxies like a swarm of metal planets. Elena stood in the command center of New Geneva Station, humanity's largest orbital defense platform, watching the sensors as the Harvesters entered the Milky Way. Each Harvester was the size of a small moon, dark and angular, moving with purpose toward the galactic core. How many? Admiral Chen asked, her voice tense. 15,000 confirmed contacts, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported. More arriving every hour. Elena studied the sensor data. They're heading for the center of the galaxy first, just like they did with the silence. They expect to find everything dead, but they won't, Admiral Chen said with satisfaction. They'll find us, Elena nodded. In the 2 years since the Harvesters had been detected approaching the galaxy, humanity had achieved the impossible. They had established colonies on over 2,000 worlds, each one a biological fortress that made the silence useless. More importantly, they had found other survivors. "Elena, we're getting a transmission from the Kepler Defense Network," Communications Officer Park announced. "Admiral Tavara wants to speak with you." Elena smiled. Admiral Tavara was a Zephyrian, one of the few survivors from the Proxima system who had been in deep space when the Silence hit their homeworld. When humanity had recolonized Proxima b, they had found her ship drifting in the outer system, its crew in suspended animation. Tavara's blue face appeared on the main screen. She was tall and thin like all Zephyrians, but her large black eyes now held hope instead of despair. "Dr. Vasquez, our sensors show the harvesters are beginning their approach to the galactic core. Are your biological defenses ready?" "More than ready, Admiral," Elena replied. "Every human settlement is reporting complete immunity to the Silence. How are your people holding up?" Tavara smiled, an expression that looked strange on her alien features. "My people are learning to live with your messiness. But Dr. Vasquez, the children born on the human worlds are showing immunity to the Silence. Your bacteria are protecting them." Elena felt a surge of pride. Humanity's biological defenses weren't just protecting humans, they were protecting everyone who lived in human settlements. The messy, chaotic environment that humans created was like a shield against the Harvester's ultimate weapon. "Elena," Admiral Chen interrupted, "we're detecting movement in the galactic core. The Harvesters are beginning their harvest." Elena turned to the main display. The sensors showed the Harvesters spreading throughout the center of the galaxy, moving systematically from star to star. At each system, they deployed the Silence and waited for it to sterilize the worlds before beginning their harvest. But something was wrong. The Silence wasn't working. "Admiral, look at these readings," Elena said, pointing to the sensor data. "The Silence is being neutralized before it can spread." Admiral Chen studied the data. "How is that possible? We don't have colonies in the galactic core yet." Elena smiled. "We don't, but our bacteria do. Every ship that's traveled through that region has been carrying Earth bacteria. Every piece of equipment, every supply container, every communication relay. We've been seeding the galaxy with Earth life for decades without realizing it." The implications hit Admiral Chen immediately. "You mean the entire galaxy is already protected?" "To some degree, yes. Earth bacteria have spread everywhere humans have been. The Silence can't get a foothold anywhere in the galaxy now." On the main screen, they watched as the Harvester's perfect plan began to fall apart. The ancient entities had never encountered biological resistance to the Silence. They had no backup plan, no alternative strategy. For millions of years, their sterilization weapon had been completely reliable. Now it was useless. "Elena, we're receiving a transmission," Officer Park announced. It's from the Harvesters." Elena had never heard a Harvester communication before. The signal was unlike anything in human experience, a complex pattern of electromagnetic pulses that the computer struggled to translate. When the translation appeared on screen, Elena felt a chill. "Sterilization incomplete. Biological contamination detected, requesting explanation." "They're confused," Elena said with amazement. "In millions of years, this has never happened to them." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "Open a channel. Let's give them an explanation." Elena composed herself. She was about to speak to entities that had committed genocide across thousands of galaxies. "This is Dr. Elena Vasquez of the human species. Your sterilization weapon has failed because this galaxy is under our protection." The response came quickly. "Impossible. No species survives the Silence. Surrender for immediate sterilization." "No," Elena replied firmly. "The Silence cannot harm us. We are immune to your weapon, and we have made this entire galaxy immune as well." There was a long pause before the next transmission. "Explanation required. How do you survive the Silence?" Elena thought for a moment. How could she explain humanity's chaotic evolutionary history to beings that had spent millions of years sterilizing perfect civilizations? "We are not like the species you have destroyed," Elena said. "We evolved in a dirty, dangerous environment. We have been fighting diseases and plagues for millions of years. Your weapon cannot hurt us because we are already used to fighting things like it." Another pause, longer this time. "Unacceptable. Alternative sterilization methods will be employed." Elena felt her heart sink. The Harvesters weren't going to give up. If the Silence didn't work, they would try something else, but Admiral Chen was ready. "Elena, we've been preparing for this possibility. Show them what happens when they try to fight humanity directly." Elena pulled up the tactical display. Around the galaxy, human defense fleets were moving into position. These weren't the small exploration ships that had first discovered the silence. These were massive vessels built specifically for war, each one carrying thousands of humans and Earth organisms. Harvesters, this is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Human Defense Force. You have two choices. Leave this galaxy peacefully or face the consequences of attacking a species that has spent its entire evolutionary history learning how to fight. The Harvesters' response was immediate. Their massive ships began moving toward human colonies, preparing for direct assault. What followed was unlike anything in galactic history. The Harvesters were ancient and powerful, with technology that could reshape matter at the atomic level, but humanity had something the Harvesters had never encountered: the ability to adapt quickly and fight dirty. Human ships didn't try to match the Harvesters' superior technology. Instead, they used biological warfare. They released clouds of Earth bacteria that ate through Harvester ship hulls. They deployed viruses that interfered with Harvester electronics. They even weaponized human body odor, which proved to be toxic to Harvester biology. Elena watched the battle from New Geneva Station, amazed at what she was seeing. Humanity wasn't winning through superior firepower or advanced technology. They were winning by being exactly what they had always been: messy, chaotic, and incredibly hard to kill. "Elena, look at this," Admiral Chen said, pointing to the tactical display. "The Harvesters are retreating." Elena could hardly believe it. The ancient entities that had sterilized thousands of galaxies were pulling back from human space. Their perfect order couldn't cope with humanity's biological chaos. The final transmission from the Harvesters was simple: species classification impossible. Galaxy designation changed to contaminated. Harvest terminated. Elena watched as the Harvester fleet regrouped at the edge of the galaxy, then began the long journey back to the void between galaxies. For the first time in millions of years, they had failed to sterilize a galaxy. "They're leaving," Admiral Chen said with wonder. Elena nodded, but she was already thinking about the future. "Admiral, we need to send a message to the other galaxies. There are other survivors out there, other species that have been hiding from the Harvesters for millions of years." Over the following months, humanity's radio telescopes began picking up responses from distant galaxies. The defeat of the Harvesters had inspired other survivors to reveal themselves. Species that had been hiding in the void, civilizations that had fled to the edges of their galaxies, ancient refugees who had thought they were the last of their kind. Elena stood in her new laboratory on Proxima B, watching human children play with alien children in the streets of the reborn city. The galaxy was filling with life again. Human colonies had become safe havens for survivor species from across the cosmos. "Dr. Vasquez," her assistant called, "we're receiving another transmission from the Andromeda survivors. They want to know if we can help them fight the Harvesters in their galaxy." Elena smiled. "Tell them yes. Tell them humanity is coming." She looked out the window at the thriving city around her. Human and alien architecture had merged into something entirely new. Earth plants grew alongside alien vegetation. Human children learned alien languages, while alien children played human games. This was what the galaxy looked like when it was protected by humanity's biological chaos instead of sterilized by the Harvesters' perfect order. It was messy and noisy and wonderful. Elena opened her final research journal and began to write. "The galaxy has been saved not by superior technology or ancient wisdom, but by humanity's greatest strength, our ability to survive, adapt, and spread life even in the harshest conditions.